Hello everyone, we are going to start compound interest exercise part 4. In this exercise we are going to do questions based on finding amount and questions based on finding compound interest. The images used in our slide deck are for educational purpose only. We respect the intellectual property rights of the original creators and owners of these images. If you are the owner of any of the images used in this deck and have any concern or issues, please contact us at sathi@iitk.ac.in and we shall remove the images. Now these are the formulas which we are going to use while solving the questions. First is formula for calculating simple interest. SI is equal to P into R into T upon 100, where SI is simple interest, P is principal, R is rate, and T is time. Then we have formula for calculating amount of simple interest. That is equal to A is equal to SI plus P, where P is principal, A is amount, and SI is simple interest. Then we have formula for calculating compound interest. That is CI is equal to P into 1 plus R upon 100 whole power n minus 1, where CI is compound interest, P is principal, R is rate, and N is time. Then we have formula for calculating amount or principal or rate. A is equal to P into 1 plus R upon 100 whole power T, where A is amount, P is principal, R is rate, and T is time. Then we have difference between CI and SI for 2 years. CI minus SI is equal to PR square upon 100 square. Then we have difference between CI and SI for 3 years. Difference is equal to PR square into 300 plus R upon 100 cube. Then we have formula for calculating installment on SI. So let each installment be rupees A. Then A is equal to 100p upon 100t plus RT into t minus 1 upon 2. Now moving on to the questions. Rupees 10,000 was given at the rate of 20% compound interest per annum. If this interest is calculated half yearly, find the compound money after 2 years. And the options are option A, rupees 14,600, option B, rupees 12,500, option C, rupees 14,642, and option D is rupees 14,641. These are the options. Now, rupees 10,000 were given and rate was 20% per annum. So if interest is calculated half yearly, find the compound money after 2 years. Time period is 2 years. The answer to this question is option D, rupees 14,641. And we are going to use formula 9.4 to solve this question. Interest calculated half yearly. So if interest is calculated half yearly, then rate is going to be half, that is 20 upon 2 is equal to 10%. And time is going to be equal to 2 into 2, that is equal to 4 years. Because time was 2 years already given in the question. But we have to calculate the interest half yearly. So it is going to be twice, that is 4 half years. Therefore, using formula 9.4, we know amount is equal to principal into 1 plus rate upon 100 whole power time. So putting the values of principal, rate and time, we get 10,000 into 1 plus 10 upon 100 whole power 4. That is going to be equal to 10,000 into 1 plus 10 upon 100 can be written as 1 plus 1 upon 10, and 1 plus 1 upon 10 is 11 upon 10 whole power 4. Therefore, 10,000 into 11 power 4 is 14,641 and 10 power 4 is 10,000. So that is equal to rupees 14,641. Option D is the correct answer. Next, in what time will the principal of rupees 10,000 be increased to rupees 13,310 at the interest rate of 10% per annum in a bank when interest is compounded annually. And the options are option A, 4 year, option B, 5 year, option C, 3 year, and option D, 6 year. These are the options. So we have to find out the time period in which rupees 10,000 becomes rupees 13,310 and rate is 10% per annum. Now the answer to this question is option C, 3 year, and we are using formula 9.4 to solve this question. It is given that principal P is equal to rupees 10,000, amount A is equal to rupees 13,310, and rate is 10% annual. And time period we have to find. So using formula A equal to P into 1 plus R upon 100 power T, we get 13,310 is equal to P is 10,000 plus 1 plus rate is 10 upon 100 power T. T we have to find. Therefore, 13,110, taking 10,000 to the left hand side, it goes to the denominator, and we can write that thing as 11 upon 10 whole cube. That is equal to 1 plus 10 upon 100 power T. Therefore, 11 upon 10 whole cube is equal to 1 plus 10 upon 100 is going to be 11 upon 10 whole power T. So we can see that base is equal on both the sides, left hand side as well as the right hand side. That means power should be equal. So on comparing the powers of both sides, T is going to be equal to 3 year. That means option C is the correct answer. Next, Mr. Wagis invested money in AKD. How much money will he get at maturity if rupees 4500 is invested for 6 months at a compound interest rate of 20% annually and the interest is compounded quarterly? And the options are option A, rupees 4961.5, option B is rupees 4961.25, option C is rupees 4961.35, and option D is rupees 4961. These are the options. So Wagis has invested in AGD and we have to find that how much amount he will get on maturity. If he has invested rupees 4500, time period is 6 months and compound interest rate is 20% annual, but the interest is compounded quarterly. The answer to this question is option B, rupees 4961.25, and we are using formula 9.4 to solve this question. Here rate was 20% annual, but we have to find quarterly. So that becomes 20 upon 4, that is 5%. Time period is equal to 2 quarters because 6 months has 2 quarters of 3 months and 3 months. Therefore, amount is going to be equal to P into 1 plus R upon 100 whole power n using formula 9.4. So putting the values of P, R and N, we get 4500 into 1 plus 5 upon 100 whole power 2. Therefore, 4500 into 1 plus 5 upon 100 is 21 upon 20. Power is 2. So we have written 21 upon 20 into 21 upon 20. After simplification, we get 4961.25 rupees as our answer. So option number B is the correct answer. Next, Mr. Nissi borrows rupees 2000 at an annual compound interest rate of 5%. What will be the compound interest for 2 years when the interest is compounded annually? And the options are option A rupees 205, option B is rupees 2205, option C is rupees 2250, and option D is rupees 250. And I'm giving you 10 seconds to find that which option is correct. After that I will do the solution. So Mr. Nissi has borrowed rupees 2000, rate of interest is 5%, and time period is 2 years. Now the answer to this question is rupees 205 and we are using formula 9.4 to solve this question. Rate was 5% given in the question and time period was 2 years and principal was rupees 2000. Therefore, using formula 9.4, that is amount is equal to principal into 1 plus rate upon 100 whole power time, it becomes 2000 into 1 plus 5 upon 100 whole square. We have put the value of principal, rate and time in the formula. Therefore, it becomes 2000 into 1 plus 5 upon 100 is 21 upon 20 whole square. That is equal to 2000 into 21 into 21 upon 20 into 20. That is 2205. We have to find the interest, and interest is amount minus principal. So amount is 2205 minus, and Nishi has borrowed rupees 2000, that was the principal. So 2205 minus 2000 is equal to 205. That means option A, rupees 205 is the correct answer. Next, Prachi borrows rupees 550 at a simple annual interest rate of 5%. How much will C have to pay after 4 years? And the options are option A, rupee 101, option B 606, option C 660, and option D is 110. These are the options. So Prachi had borrowed rupees 550, rate of interest was 5%, and time period was 4 years. The answer to this question is option C 660, and we are using formula 9.1 to solve this question. Principal was 550, rate was 5%, and time was 4 years. Using formula of simple interest, that is 9.1, P into R into T upon 100, and putting the values of P, R and T in the formula, we get 550 into 5 into 4 upon 100, that is equal to 110. But we have to find that how much he will get. That is, we have to find the amount. Amount is equal to principal plus interest. Principal was 550 and interest is 110. So 550 plus 110, that is equal to 660. That means option C 660 is the correct answer. Next is, a person named Sri Ram invested rupees 14,000 in FD fixed deposit. What amount will he get after the maturity period if he invests the amount, that is capital, for 6 months at quarterly basis at a compound interest rate of 20% per annum? And the options are option A, rupees 15,437. Option B is rupees 15,434. And option C is rupees 15,436. And option D is rupees 15,435. These are the options. So Sri Ram has invested rupees 14,000. We have to find the amount that he is going to get on maturity, and time period is 6 months, but he has invested at quarterly basis and rate of interest is 20% per annum. The answer to this question is option D, rupees 15,435, and we are using formula 9.4 to solve this question. So given things were principal P, that is rupees 14,000. When rate pay is quarterly, then it is going to be annual rate upon 4. So interest rate was 20%, but that was annual. So quarter rate is going to be 20 upon 4, that is 5%. Time period was 6 months, and 6 month has 2 quarters of 3 months and 3 months. Therefore, using formula 9.4, that is A equal to P into 1 plus R upon 100 power n. Putting the values of P, R and N, we get 14,000 into 1 plus 5 upon 100 whole square. That is 14,000 into 1 plus 5 upon 100 is 21 upon 20. So into 21 upon 20 whole square. So 14,000 into 21 square is 441 and 20 square is 400. So we get 441 into 35, that is equal to 15,435. Option D is the correct answer. Next, at simple interest for the money rupees 1500, the compound money becomes rupees 1800 in 2 years. If the rate of interest is increased by 5%, what will be the compound money? And the options are option A, rupees 1500, Option B is rupees 1900. Option C is rupees 1950. And option D is rupees 2000. These are the options. So at simple interest and money is given rupees 1500, the compound money has become rupees 1800 in time period of 2 years. So if the rate of interest is increased by 5%, we have to find that what will be the compounded money then. Answer to this question is option C, rupees 1950, and we are using formula 9.1. Given things were principal rupees 1500, time was 2 years, amount is rupees 1800. Therefore, interest is going to be equal to amount minus principal. So 1800 minus 1500, that is equal to 300 rupees is the interest. So using formula of simple interest, that is P into R into T upon 100, and putting the values of simple interest P and T, we get 300 is equal to 1500 into R into 2 upon 100. So after calculation, R is going to be equal to 10%. But after increasing the interest rate by 5%, as already mentioned in the question, the rate of interest is going to be 10% plus 5%, that is 15%. So new simple interest is then going to be 1500 into 15 into 2 upon 100, that is rupees 450. So new amount is going to be principal plus interest, that is 1500 was principal and new interest is 450. So 1500 plus 450, that is rupees 1950 is the correct answer. Option number C is correct. Next, Mr. Yaswant invested a few rupees in FD. What will be the total amount on maturity if rupees 10,000 is invested for 6 months at a rate of 20% compound interest annually, and the interest is compounded quarterly? Options are option A 11,025.25, option B is 11,025, option C is 11,025.75, and option D is 11,025.5. So Mr. Yashwant had invested in FD, and if rupees 10,000 is invested for time period of 6 months and rate was 20%, but it was 20% annually. But here the interest is being compounded quarterly, so we have to find the total amount on maturity. Answer to this question is option B 11,025, and we are using formula 9.4 to solve this question. Principal P was rupees 10,000. Rate of interest was 20% annual, but here the interest is compounded quarterly, so it is going to be 20 upon 4% quarter, that is equal to 5% quarter. Time period was 6 months. Therefore, if interest is compounded quarterly, it is going to be equal to 2 quarter. Using formula amount equal to P into 1 plus R upon 100 whole power n, we get, putting the values of P, R and N, 10,000 into 1 plus 5 upon 100 whole square. Therefore, 10,000 into 1 plus 1 upon 20, because 5 upon 100 is 1 upon 20. Therefore, 10,000 into 1 plus 1 upon 20 whole square, that is equal to 10,000 into 1 plus 1 upon 20 is 21 upon 20 whole square. So 10,000 into 21 upon 20 into 21 upon 20, that is equal to rupees 11,025. So option B is the correct answer. Next, Sanjeev invests in a fixed deposit. If rupees 11,000 is invested at the rate of 20% compound interest annually for 6 months and the interest is compounded quarterly, what is the total amount he will get on maturity? And the options are option A rupees 12,127.25, option B is rupees 12,127.50, Option C is rupees 12,127.75 and option D is rupees 12,127. These are the options. So Sanjeev has invested in fixed deposit. Rate of interest is 20%, time period is 6 months, and principal is rupees 11,000. But the interest is compounded quarterly. We have to find the total amount he will get on maturity. The answer to this question is option B, rupees 12,127.50. And we are going to use formula 9.4 to solve this question. So interest is compounded in quarterly, then time is going to be equal to 6 upon 12 into 4, that is 2 quarter, because 6 months has 2 quarter. Rate was 20%, that was annual. But if the interest is compounded annually, then it is going to be 20 upon 4, that is 5%. Therefore, using the formula of amount, that is P into 1 plus R upon 100 whole power n, and putting the values of P, R and N, we get 11,000 into 1 plus 5 upon 100 whole square. That is equal to 11,000 into 21 upon 20 into 21 upon 20, because 1 plus 5 upon 100 is 105 upon 100, and on simplification by 5 it is going to be 21 upon 20. Therefore 12,127.5 is the answer. That means option B is correct. Next, Ranjan borrows rupees 7,500 at an annual compound interest rate of 4%. What will be the compound interest for 2 years while the interest is compounded annually? And the options are option A, rupees 612, option B is rupees 8,112, option C is rupees 8,121, and option D is rupees 621. These are the options. Now, Ranjan has borrowed rupees 7,500. Rate of interest was 4% and time period is 2 years. The answer to this question is option A, rupees 612, and we are using formula 9.3 to solve this question. Principal was rupees 7,500, rate was 4%, and time period N was 2 years. We know the formula of CI using 9.3, that is P into 1 plus R upon 100 whole power N minus 1. So putting the values of P, R and N, we get 7,500 into 1 plus 4 upon 100 whole square minus 1. That becomes 7,500 into 1 plus 400, 4 upon 100 is 104 upon 100. That is 26 upon 25 whole square minus 1. So 7,500 into 26 square is 676 and 25 square is 625, and taking LCM we get 676 minus 625 upon 625, that is going to be equal to 7,500 into 676 minus 625 is 51 upon 625, and on calculation it becomes rupees 612. So option A, 612 is the correct answer. Next, found the compound interest on rupees 15,625 for 1 year 6 months at 8% compound interest rate per annum when compounded half yearly. And the options are option A, rupees 1951, option B is rupees 1950, option C is rupees 1900, and option D is rupees 1952. These are the options. So we have to find the compound interest. Principal is given rupees 15,625. Time period is 1 year and 6 months, and rate of interest is 8%. But here the interest is compounded half yearly. The answer to this question is option A, rupees 1951, and we are using formula 9.1, 9.3 to solve this question. So given things were principal, that is rupees 15,625, Rate was 8%, but that was annual, but we have to find half yearly compounded, so it is going to be half 4% half yearly. Time period was given, that was 1 year and 6 months. So 1 year 6 months is equal to 3 half year, because half year is 6 months. So 1 year has 2 half year, and 6 months, that is 2 plus 1, 3 half year. So using the formula of compound interest, we get 15,625 into 1 plus 4 upon 100 whole cube minus 15,625. Therefore, 15,625 into 1 plus 4 upon 100 is 26 upon 25, but the power is 3. So we have to write 26 upon 25 3 times minus 15,625. That is going to become 17,576 minus 15,625. And on subtracting, we get 1951. So option A, rupees 1951, is the correct answer. Next, what will be the compound interest for 2 integer 3 upon 4 years at 8% compound interest rate per annum on rupees 31,250? And the options are: option A, rupees 7,300; option B is rupees 7,800; option C is rupees 7,337; and option D is rupees 7,387. These are the options. So we have to find the compound interest. Time period was 2 integer 3 upon 4 years. Rate of interest is 8%, and principal is rupees 31,250. The answer to this question is option D, rupees 7,387, and we are using formula 9.4 to solve this question. So from formula we get amount is equal to P into 1 plus R upon 100 whole square into 1 plus 3R upon 400, because time period was 2 integer 3 upon 4 years. So putting the values of P and R, we get amount equal to 31,250 into 1 plus 8 upon 100 whole square into 1 plus 3 into 8 upon 400. That becomes 31,250 into 1 plus 8 upon 100 is 27 upon 25. But here the power is 2. So we have written 27 upon 25 twice into 1 plus 3 into 8 upon 400 is 106 upon 100. So we get amount is equal to 27 into 27 into 53. That is rupees 38,637. But we have to find the compound interest. So compound interest is going to be amount minus principal. So 38,636, that is amount, minus principal was given in the question, that is 31,250. We get rupees 7,387 as our compound interest. So option D is the correct answer. Next, on investing a sum of money at a 4% annual rate of compound interest yields rupees 78,030 at the end of 1 year. When the interest is compounded half yearly, the fund is, and the options are: option A, rupees 76,000; option B is rupees 71,400; option C is rupees 72,500; and option D is rupees 75,000. These are the options. So we have invested money at the rate of 4% annual rate of interest, and it has yield rupees 78,030, and time period it took is 1 year. So, and the interest is compounded half yearly. We have to find the principal. The answer to this question is option D, rupees 75,000, and we are using formula 9.4 to solve this question. So when interest is compound half yearly, then rate is going to be also equal to half, that is 4 upon 2, that is 2%. Time period, that was 1 year, and 1 year has 2 half years. So from formula, amount is equal to P into 1 plus R upon 100 whole power T. Putting the values, we get 78,030 is equal to P, that we have to find, 1 plus R, that is 2% upon 100 whole power 2. that is equal to 78,030 is equal to P into 1 plus 2 upon 100 is 1 upon 50 whole square. So 1 plus 50, 1 upon 50 is 51 upon 50 whole square into P, that is equal to 78,030. So P is going to be equal to 78,030 into 50, that is 2,500 upon 51 square is 2601. So the value of P is going to be rupees 75,000. Option D is the correct answer. Next, the interest received on a fixed amount at a rate of 10% in a year is rupees 400. Compound interest for the same amount at the same rate and for the same period if the interest is compounded half yearly will be. And options are option A rupees 400, option B is rupees 210, option C is rupees 410, and option D is rupees 200. And I'm giving you 10 seconds to find that which option is correct. After that, I will do the solution. So the interest received is rupees 400 when rate of interest is 10%. We have to find the compound interest for the same amount for the same period and same rate, but this time the compound is interested half yearly. The answer to this question is option C, rupees 410, and we are using formula 9.4 and 9.1. So let amount is equal to rupees P, rate was 10%, time was 1 year. Therefore, as per the question, 400 is equal to P into R into T upon 100. Therefore, 400 is equal to P into 10 into T is 1 year upon 100. P is going to be equal to rupees 4,000. Rate is 10%, time is 2 half yearly, because if the interest is compounded half yearly, then it is going to have 2 half years. Therefore, using the formula for compound interest, when the interest is compounded half yearly, P into 1 plus R upon 2 into 100 whole square. We have put R upon 2 in place of R because the interest is compounded half yearly, so rate of interest is also going to be half. Putting the values, P into 1 plus R upon 2 into 100 whole square. So 4,000 into 1 plus 10 upon 200 whole square. That is 4,000 into 1 plus 10 upon 200 is going to be 21 upon 20 whole square. So 4,000 into 21 upon 20 whole square was given. So we can write 21 upon 20 twice. That is equal to rupees 4,410. Now compound interest is going to be equal to amount minus principal. Therefore, amount is 4,410 and principal was 4,000. That is equal to rupees 410. So option C, rupees 410 is the correct answer. Next, the simple interest on a sum of money for 3 years at 12% simple interest rate per annum is rupees 6,750. What will be the compound interest on the same amount at the same rate of interest for the same period when compounded annually? And the options are option A, rupees 7,092.40, option B is rupees 7,000, option C is rupees 7,592.40, and option D is rupees 7,500.40. These are the options. So simple interest for 3 years, rate of interest was 12%, is rupees 6,750. We have to find the compound interest on the same amount, same rate, and same time period. The answer to this question is option C, rupees 7,592.40. And we are using formula 9.4 and 9.1 to solve this question. SI is equal to P into R into T upon 100 is the formula 9.1. So from putting the values of SI, R and T, we get 6,750 is equal to P into 12 into 3 upon 100. So P is going to be equal to 6,750 into 100 upon 12 into 3. So after calculation, the value of P has become 18,750. Now, compound interest is P into 1 plus R upon 100 whole power n. P we have found, that is 18,750. 1 plus rate is same, that is 12. So 12 upon 100 whole power. N is time period. It is also same, that is 3. So A is going to be equal to 18,750 into 1 plus 12 upon 100 is 28 upon 25. The power is 3. So we have written 28 upon 25 3 times. That is going to be equal to, on calculation, rupees 26,342.4. So if amount we know, then we can easily find the compound interest, that is amount minus principal. So putting the values of amount and principal, we get 26,342.4 minus 18,750, that is equal to rupees 7,592.4. So option C is the correct answer. Next, any money is deposited at 8% per annum compound interest rate. If the interest for the first year is rupees 72, then get the interest for the second year. And the options are: option A, rupees 77.56, option B is rupees 77.64, option C is rupees 77.76, and option D is rupees 85.77. So any money is deposited, rate of interest is 8%. And if the interest for the first year is given, that is rupees 72, we have to find the interest for the second year. Answer to this question is option C, rupees 77.76, and we are using formula 9.1 to solve this question. From formula 9.1, the value of P is going to be SI into 100 upon R into T. Therefore, amount is equal to 72 into 100 upon 8 into 1, that is 900. So amount for second year is going to be 900 plus 72, because it was given that the interest for the first year is 72. So amount is going to be 900 plus 72 for the second year, that is 972. So interest for the second year is going to be, using formula 9.1, 972 into 8 into 1 upon 100, that is 77.76. So option C, rupees 77.76 is the correct answer. Next, if the compound interest rate on rupees 1,72,000 is 8% per year for 3 years, then what will be its compound interest? And the options are: option A, rupees 44,670, option B is rupees 11,667, option C is rupees 41,280, and option D is rupees 46,470. So rate of interest was 8%, time period was 3 years, and principal was rupees 1,72,000. We have to find the compound interest. The answer to this question is option A, rupees 44,670, and we are using formula 9.3 to solve this question. Given things were: principal, that is rupees 1,72,000, rate was 8% annual, and time period n is 3 years. We know the formula for compound interest, that is P into 1 plus R upon 100 whole power n minus P. So putting the values, but before that, taking P common, we can write it as P into 1 plus R upon 100 whole power n minus 1. Now putting the values of P, R and N, we get 1,72,000 into 1 plus 8 upon 100 whole cube minus 1. So 1,72,000 into 1 plus 8 upon 100 is 27 upon 25, power is 3 minus 1. That is equal to 1,72,000 into 27 cube is 19,683, and 25 cube is 15,625 minus 1. That becomes 1,72,000 into 19,683 minus 15,625 upon 15,625. That is 11.008 into 4058. And on multiplication, we get 44 into 44,670. Therefore, option A is the correct answer. Next, find the compound interest rate at rupees 7,500 at the rate of 12% per annum for 2 years, 4 months to the nearest rupee. This interest is calculated on annual basis. And the options are option A 2,284, option B is rupees 2,176, option C is 2,097, and option D is 2,235. These are the options. So we have to find the compound interest. Principal is rupees 7,500. Rate of interest is given to us. Time period is also given to us. Now the answer to this question is option A 2,284, and we are using formula 9.3 to solve this one. Given things were principal, that is rupees 7,500. Time period was 2 integer 1 upon 3 years. Rate of interest was 12% annual. So compound amount A is equal to P into 1 plus R upon 100 whole power T, that is formula 9.3. So putting the values of P, R and T, we get 7,500 into 1 plus 12 upon 100 power 2 integer 1 upon 3, that is the time period, 2 year 4 months. Therefore 7,500 into 1 plus 3 upon 25, 12 upon 100 is 3 upon 25 whole square into 1 plus 3 upon 25 power 1 upon 3. We have separated 2 integer 1 upon 3 into 2 and 1 upon 3. Therefore 7,500 into 28 upon 25 into 28 upon 25 into 1 plus 1 upon 3 into 3 upon 25 is what we get in the next step. So 7,500 into 28 upon 25 into 28 upon 25 into this things becomes 26 upon 25. So on multiplication we get rupees 9,784.32. Now the compound interest is going to be amount minus principal. Therefore 9,784.32 minus principal was 7,500. That is rupees 2,284.32. So compound interest near will be rupees 22,884, 2,284, because we have to find to the nearest rupee. So option A is the correct answer. Next, find the interest on rupees 25,000 at 12% per annum compounded annually for 3 years. And the options are option A rupees 9,000, option B is rupees 9,833.40, option C is rupees 10,123.20, and option D is rupees 10,678.90. These are the options. So we have to find the interest on rupees 25,000. Rate of interest is given and time period is also given to us. The answer to this question is option C, rupees 10,123.20, and we are using formula 9.3 to solve this question. So using formula 9.3, compound interest is going to be equal to 25,000 into 1 plus 12 upon 100 whole power 3 minus 1, where 25,000 is principal, R is 12, and N, that is time, is 3. That becomes 25,000 into 1 plus 12 upon 100 is 3 upon 25 whole cube minus 1. Therefore 25,000 into 1 plus 3 upon 25 is 28 upon 25 whole cube minus 1. 25,000 into 28 cube is 21,952, and 25 cube is 15,625 minus 1. Therefore 25,000 into 6,327 upon 15,625. Because in the previous step we will take the LCM and then we will subtract 15,625 from 21,952. We get 6,327. On multiplication we get rupees 10,123.20 as the answer. So option C is the correct. Next, what will be the compound interest at rupees 24,000 in 2 years at 25% per annum if the interest is compounded annually? And the options are: option A, rupees 37,500; option B is rupees 13,500; option C is rupees 38,400; and option D is rupees 36,400. These are the options. Now we have to find the compound interest. Principal is given to us, that is 24,000. Time period and rate of interest is also given to us, and the interest is compounded annually. The answer to this question is option B, rupees 13,500, and we are using formula 9.4 to solve this question. Compound interest is CI is equal to P into 1 plus R upon 100 whole power n minus P. Putting the values of P, R, and N, we get 24,000 into 1 plus 25 upon 100 whole square minus 24,000. 24,000 into 25 upon 100 is 1 upon 4. So into 1 plus 1 upon 4 whole square minus 24,000. 1 plus 1 upon 4 is 5 upon 4. So 24,000 into 5 upon 4 whole square minus 24,000. Taking 24,000 common, we get 5 square is 25 and 4 square is 16 inside the bracket minus 1. Therefore, 24,000 into taking LCM as 16, we get 25 minus 16 in the numerator. That becomes 24,000 into 9 upon 16. And on multiplication, it becomes 13,500. So option B, 13,500 rupees is the correct answer. So these were the questions. I hope you have understood the questions well. Thank you very much for joining the session.